on till we get the new or one more member, and then we'll start. So thank you so much for joining us today.
We've not started the meeting yet.
Okay.
Should be.
I mean, thanks. There should be some. All right, then we began to record this meeting. Let's go ahead and get started. We have reached quorum. So thank you for joining us this afternoon for the Ventura County Climate Emergency Council regular meeting here today, Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. Happy New Year to everybody. We'll start this meeting here at 12:03. And we're meeting here at the Atlantic Conference Room, Hall of Administration, Main Plaza in Ventura at the County of Ventura building. For those of you joining us via Zoom link, that's an opportunity for more people to participate in this meeting. So as we've called this meeting to order, let's have the roll call, please.
Vice Chair White,
Here.
Councilmember Syed, let us know that he is not attending. Chair Munoz Snell,
Here.
Councilmember DeTore,
Here.
Councilmember Perez, here. Councilmember Dora Ferrella. Councilmember Nick Ferrella.
Here.
Councilmember Para. Councilmember Camarillo.
Here.
Councilmember Crowe, who also let us know he was unable to attend.
All right, thank you. Let's move on to item number 3 on the agenda, the Pledge of Allegiance. And Vice Chair White, if you do us the favor.
Ready to begin? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4, we have the approval of the minutes from the last time we met, which it was November 20th, 2023. And has everybody had a chance to review the minutes?
Yep, move approval.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
All right, so Councilmember Camarillo motioned and then Councilmember DeTore seconded. Could we have a roll call, please?
Vice Chair White,
Aye.
Councilmember Syed, absent. Chair Munoz Snell,
Yes.
Councilmember DeTore,
Aye.
Councilmember Perez,
Yes.
Councilmember Dora Ferrella. Absent. Councilmember Keith Ferrella,
Yes.
Councilmember Para, absent. Councilmember Camarillo,
Yes.
and Councilmember Crowe. Okay.
Motion approved. Let's move on to item number 5, which is the public comments for items not on the agenda. So this gives the public the opportunity to speak on those items that are not recognized on today's agenda. So do we have anybody here in the audience? No? All right. Anyone online that would like to speak on items not on the agenda, you could take yourself off of mute or raise your hand. And so as we look at the group here, I don't see anyone who'd like to speak on items not on the agenda. All right, so let's move on then to item number 6, correspondence agenda. We don't have any items there to discuss or review. So now we move on to the regular agenda. Item number 7 is to receive an update from the county executive office staff. So Heather, take it away.
Yes, our first update is on our EC recap program. Did you want to present on that picture?
Sure, I can do that. And for those of you, I think prior, we've been mentioning this program as the CPRP program, or the Climate Pollution Reduction Grants program that EPA put out. So for the project here in Ventura, in the county of Ventura, we named the project the Ventura County Regional Effort for Climate Action Planning, or VC recap. So again, we received a planning grant to develop and implement a regional climate action plan, which the first deliverable being a priority climate action plan due on March 1st. The county is working with Recon Consultants Incorporated to perform work associated with the regional priority climate action plan. And is conducting a 2022 greenhouse gas inventory of the priority sectors identified as transportation, buildings, and solid waste and waste generation. And associated quantified greenhouse gas reduction measures and low income and disadvantaged communities benefits analysis. The CPRG advisory group comprised of representatives from the cities of Moore Park, Fillmore, Fort Wainini, Ventura, Oxnard, Thousand Oaks, Santa Paula, Simi Valley, the Port of Wainini, County, the Ventura County Air Pollution Control District, and Ventura County Transportation Commission, and the Central Coast Climate Justice Network are assisting in the development of the priority climate action plan. The CPRG advisory group is currently gathering data for regional, city-specific, and unincorporated greenhouse gas inventories, as well as participating in a survey that will allow advisory group members to submit implementation project ideas to be included in the PCAP. Community survey was also created and is posted on the CPRG website, housed on our sustainability website. And lastly, the County of Ventura is working with the Ferguson Group to prepare an application for the second phase of the CPRG program, which is an implementation grant program. And applications for this grant are due on April 1st of 2024. If you would like any additional information on this project, you can visit our website and find the VC recap page.
Okay. Heather, do you have anything else to add?
Just a small announcement for EV charging infrastructure. Also, I just want to note that we're Morale, sustainability division staff does an excellent job keeping our website, our sustainability website up to date, and there's a lot of information on there. You can get to the Climate Emergency Council link there, as well as the Steve Kerr and all of our other programs. Right now for EV infrastructure, it's just a small update, but in the future, there will be bigger updates. But in December, the Board of Supervisors approved charging stations for the Fillmore clinic, which is awesome because there's not a lot of charging stations in the Fillmore Santa Paula area. And so this is for 6 charging ports, so 3 dual port charging stations. We also are working on some other charging infrastructure projects at our county facilities. Right now, that includes Oxnard and Camarillo airports, as well as a behavioral health facility on Williams Drive. And then we have some other applications that are pending for some of our golf courses and other clinics. So more updates to come. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions from the council? No questions, no comments, all right. Let's see if there are any public comments. So anyone in the audience here, no. Anybody online who wishes to ask any questions or comments here for item number 7? All right, so seeing none then, thank you for the update. Thank you. Let's move on to item number 8, receiving a presentation on the Ventura County Cap Map project. And this is Morel's presentation. Morel is online, so take it away, Morel.
Thank you. Yes, let me just get myself settled here for the presentation. Can you all see this?
Yes.
Thank you for confirming. Okay, perfect. Well, now that it's past 12, good afternoon, everyone. As you know, I'm Morel Vargas. I'm the program administrator in the County Executive Office Sustainability Division, where part of my work consists of implementing the climate action plan programs assigned to our agency and providing support and overseeing the overall success of the CAP. And today I'll be talking about the CAP MAP project, which is basically this e-general plan and e-CAP reporting and tracking tool. So our staff has been calling it the CAP MAP project, and you all are familiar with it as that name. Though I do want to note that since the end of 2022, the project has expanded to include all general plan programs. So it's all 185 programs that this tool will be functioning for. I want to provide an overview of the County of Ventura's general plan and climate action plan for those who may not be so familiar with the project. So the Ventura County 2040 General Plan is a long-range plan that guides decision-making, establish rules and standards for development and county improvement, and helps inform residents, developers, and decision-makers. It reflects the county's vision for the future. It provides direction through the year 2040 on the growth and development of our region, and is an expression of the quality of life in Ventura County. This was adopted in 2020. And the General Plan 2040 has 185 programs assigned to 15 agencies and within those specific departments. And within our general plan, we have Appendix B that you're all very familiar, climate change, which is our county's climate action plan. And our CAP has programs and policies, to reduce our region's GHG emissions and adapt to climate change. In the general plan and CAP, there are programs that require reporting on the progress of our program implementation. So we have General Plan Program LUP, Annual General Plan Implementation Review, which requires county staff to report to the Board of Supervisors every year on the status of the general plan program. And in terms of our CAP, we have Program COSD, which requires representing a public report on the status of the GHG strategy implementation to the board. And similarly, we have CAP Program COSY, Greenhouse Gas Strategy Monitoring, that requires CAP programs are implemented and monitored on its progress, as well as any other GHG strategies we have. So because of these programs and the requirements on reporting out to the public and to the board, RMA Planning and CEO Sustainability Division staff have been working on a web-based reporting and tracking tool that will streamline the general plan reporting process and document progress on our GHG emission reduction strategies and goals. So I want to provide an overview of how this tool is structured. So we have this electronic climate action plan and electronic general plan reporting and tracking tool. And there's those two main components, the eCap website and then the enhanced eGeneral Plan website. And how it works is that designated reporting staff visit the eGeneral Plan login page to enter a backend portal for them to type up reporting information on the general plan programs that they are assigned to. Once they are finished reporting that information, it's then vetted by RMA Planning and CEO Sustainability staff. And in between that, they're checking in with their supervisors, making sure that information's fine. But after that part has been verified by us, that information then is put into the public-facing webpage of the eGeneral Plan, which the eGeneral Plan has already existed before this project. this extra component of people actually going in and updating it to show the progress of their programs is what's enhancing what's currently there. And any climate action plan related information then gets fed into the ECAP website. So there's a web page that I'll be showing you that shows you specifically CAP programs already filtered from the general plan programs that provides all that information provided from our designated reporting staff. And we'll have a few more details than what regular general plan programs will be requested for. Some additional features that our tool has is this notification system that reminds agencies to fill out their assigned general plan programs, and a report generation features that's useful for us as administration staff to generate reports from the information reported on. So that will definitely be helpful as we're creating our reports to present out to the board in a few months. So before I give you a demonstration of the ECAP website, I also want to go over a high-level overview of the structure of how it was constructed. The ECAP website has three main components. The website features information from our last GHG inventory that uses 2015 data. Then we go into more details of what the county is currently doing through what we call these climate focus areas, which features activity metrics. And the activity metrics is a feature of both CAP programs that are quantified and other operations and programs that our county does. And lastly, there's a web page for mentioned documenting the status of all CAP programs. So that goes further into detail of that. So the GHG inventory webpage has information about unincorporated Ventura County's emissions in 2015, the projected emissions to 2050 in a business as usual scenario, and then the county's reduction targets and goals. So basically, it's the information provided in the Appendix C of the general plan, seeing those graphs on those first few pages in a web-based form. Then we have our climate focus areas. So I'll show you in the website. Mainly, we have these four topics focused on buildings, transportation, natural and working lands, and then last being other CAP programs, which focus more on our adaptation of it. So the three of those will focus on what are we doing in reducing our main drivers. As Victor had mentioned, it's what we're focusing on for PCAP, and that's because even in our area, unincorporated area, it's our largest drivers of emissions. But also on the fourth topical area of CAP programs, how are we adapting to already the effects of climate change? And lastly, I mentioned the CAP programs. It's going to be an annual progress report. Although depending on the frequency of data, some information may not be as updated annually. It might be more something that's collected biannually. So that will be reflected in a progress narrative that designated staff can put in that information. It'll have features such as like the percent completed and a range in increments of 20 by 25%. And then it will show both quantitative and qualitative features of our program. So with that, I will now show you our website. Let me exit out of here. Okay, so can you all see the website?
Yeah. Yes.
Amazing. I do want to note what you are seeing right now, it's still in QC, qualitative control. So it's still with our consultants. We had a meeting earlier today, and it is really close to being being featured for the public. So it has its own domain. There's just a few things that need to be tweaked, but this is basically how it will look like. And we'll notify you once it's all ready, so you can see it on your own time. So we have this overview page that shows you our logo of our County of Ventura. All of this, was done by here for county staff with our consultants. So a lot of creativity was put into place here. As mentioned, we show our greenhouse gas emissions from our inventory, our forecast, reduction targets, and goals. This leads you and then to the webpage specific for that, and I'll go into it in further detail. It shows an overview of our climate focus areas, all 4 topics that I mentioned. I'll also highlight one of them, and depending on time, maybe a second. And then highlight some of our CAP programs there. So if you click on one of those, it will lead you to the webpage showing all CAP programs. So going up to here, we have tabs for you to navigate the website. So GHG emissions shows you that GHG inventory topic I was mentioning. So shows you our inventory by sector. You see transportation, building energy, and solid waste are very huge driving factors of our emissions. And that goes to show then here in this graph of in this business as usual scenario, what is that to look like on up to 2050 in our unincorporated Ventura County region. It highlights then those 4 main drivers, talks about our reduction targets and goals. So again, this is just the graph you see in our Appendix B, but in a web-based form that's more interactive and also provides that narrative. What I'm really excited to show you is our focus areas. So you can look at the overview showing all 4. So these focus areas, I'll highlight this one called decarbonizing our buildings and transitioning energy production and increasing storage. It has 2 sections. We have community-wide action, which is what's happening at the community level or activities that we do that's very engaging with the community. And then we have county government operations. So what is our county government through their own actions doing in terms of reducing our emissions as well. So it shows you all the metrics that we have for all those 4. And we anticipate for this to be something to be ongoing. So as we further our CAP programs and develop what those will look like, we'll update our website as well. So to show you this focus area, some of the metrics we have here. The nice thing is that you can click onto one of these metrics and it will take you down to the designated section. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'll just be scrolling. So the first one being reduce energy consumption. Before that, it really provides a nice narrative for the public to read about, like what is building decarbonization. Being in this job, and I'm pretty sure as U.S. Council is passionate in this work, like you can answer this in a second. So for many people in the public who are viewing this but are interested in it, I think it's very important to provide that definition as well as the benefits that we have mentioned in a later section there. So we made sure to provide that narrative, talk about why it's important, what does it mean with these definitions, as well as seen here with the benefit side. So the first activity metric we come up with is this community-wide reduced energy consumption. So you see they use 2 graphs, one with electricity consumption, another from natural gas consumption. We got this information from SoCal Edison and SoCal Gas. And it shows you all years are from 2016 and onwards. So we looked at after the year from our GHG inventory, how has our region been doing? And from that, we also look at GHG emissions from our consumption. I do want to note that you see here, we have a slight increase and then a big drop in 2019. And as our chart footnote mentions, it has to do with switching over from electricity provider from SoCal Edison to Clean Power Alliance and joining CPA's 100% green power energy mix. So you'll see a lot of graphs having this huge drop, and it's because of switching over to that renewable energy, high renewable energy portfolio. Another one that we highlight here is our CAP program, COSW, Energy Efficiency and Conservation Program. So this looks at our 3C RAN Home Energy Savings Program and our VCRA Green Business Program that our wonderful staff here today manage. And so it shows you the natural gas and electricity savings from encouraging businesses and community members from switching over to electricity instead of natural gas or other forms of reducing their energy emissions. And then a note there, 3C RAN's programs here in Ventura County were new. It was launched in 2022, so we're still accounting for that information. And there's not right now as much documented as there will be in further years. This one just talks about our renewable electricity generation from being a part of CPA. So that's just a number that we get from CPA, and we'll be updating this annually. We also look at PV solar installations. So in unincorporated Ventura County, how many PV solar systems do we have in place? We grab that from our building permits, from our RMA department. So I'll be having a slide. This is very much a big effort from everyone in our county and our consultants. And it shows you then how much electricity has been provided from these solar PV installations, as well as how much emissions have we been saving from using this renewable energy source. We mentioned here COS building code. So that was done toward the end of 2022 of updating our Ventura County building code and saying that with limited exceptions, all new residential and commercial developments and major remodels like ADUs have to be constructed without natural gas plumbing, equipment, and appliances. So since then, we've only gathered data from 2023 of permits so far. But the number is not reflected there. It is in the new website. We've already reduced 4 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalents since implementing our building code update in end of 2022 and seeing the data from just the beginnings of 2023. And similarly, we see county governments. So as well, we see energy consumption in our county government facilities. What is it there? See as well the emission drop with our also being enrolled in CPA's 100% green power program. We do similarly the same thing with our PV solar installations. So we have a list of county facilities that have solar panels on them. So as you saw when you were driving in today with our parking lot, we have a lot of solar systems in there, cars solar, and so we have other buildings as well. And so we're keeping track of which ones of those are still in use, which may not, which ones are now being installed. There's current projects happening, and so updating that on the list once they are connected to the grid. So that's a highlight of one of our focus areas. Encourage you once the website is fully live to explore the other focus areas that you see here. I want to just highlight this other webpage, which shows all our CAP programs. The structure is very similar to if you've ever seen the e-general plan, to how that is there. It shows our CAP programs, percent completed. It will then show if it's climate mitigation, climate adaptation, and then the associated program metric to it. So how, what are we using to quantify the progress of this program once it's been implemented? As you expand it out, we'll have more information there, which will be updated with the designated reporting staff. And you yourself can filter out based on responsible departments, policies, if you're focusing on mitigation or adaptation, and so on. So with that, that's our website. I'm going to continue on with our presentation, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mariel. This is fabulous. What a place to collect so much information for not only us, but the general public. That's wonderful. Any questions or comments from the council members here?
Very informative.
A few more slides I wanted to present, if that's okay, but I'm happy to answer any questions so far too.
Do you want to go ahead and present the slides?
Okay, sounds good to me. Perfect. So that was a demonstration of our ECAP. I want to go over just the e-general plan website that I had mentioned. So the e-general plan reporting and tracking tool will have designated reporting staff updating and reporting on their programs. Then it will have administrators, such as CAP administrators, general plan administrators, publishing the information. And then the monitoring part being kind of anyone, seeing that it's like the public facing part that anyone can view it. And so how it looked like is selected staff will view their assigned programs when signing into the agency portal. And they'll have this button that they see, which is called Edit My Programs button. And from clicking onto that, they'll be shown the programs assigned to them. And they can choose based on which ones they want to edit that specific one. So once they do that, they'll be faced with this portal where it shows all the questions, program fields, we call them, that they will fill out. And just as a note, CAP programs will have more requested information than non-CAP programs. And when they're done reporting on the general plan program, selected staff can publish the information, which will be then sent to administration staff for review all. And then the report information on the general plan programs will be featured in that implementation programs and policies webpage and the enhanced e-general plan, where the public can, as I mentioned, can search general plan programs and expand and see more details and filter as they are interested in. And just some important dates. So the reporting cycle going to happen in this month. Then from there in February, RMA planning and CEO sustainability staff will be generating reports from that information so that we can then present to our board on March 26th. So those are some upcoming deadlines for us. And lastly, just want to give a special thanks to everyone who's been involved in this project thus far. I did my best to put a list on everyone who has been involved, but I may be missing some because, as I mentioned, this was a very much large project effort, from ranging from our consultants, in a sense, in MID, helping us with the vision and the actual tool creation, with our county staff and CEO, RMA, GSA, our ITSD department, in helping us deploy the tool, get the information and the metrics. Like there's one having to do with how much near zero emission vehicles do we have in our county fleet. That requires GSA to give us that info. And other partners as well, as mentioned, we reached out to Clean Power Alliance for info for our energy consumption, our other 3C run associated staff for their programs. So all this collected information in these nice graphs required a lot of methodology and a lot of data tracking and collection. But besides that, that is all I have for you all. I'm happy to take any questions. And thank you for listening in.
All right, thank you, Morel. Okay, so any comments from council members then? No?
Good job.
Yeah, wonderful. With the calendar of the important dates, are those going to then have the same cycle year after year as we start this process of getting the information and then synthesizing it and reporting out? Would we follow then the January, February, March from here on out?
Yes, that's the intention, to have that be the future year cycling timeline. So January, the whole month, will be the opportunity for people to report on the prior reporting year. Depending on how the program is, it may be a fiscal year that they report on, it may be an actual a calendar year. It depends on how the program operates. And then in February, it'd be us synthesizing that information as needed to report out to the board. And with then, in terms of CAP, it will be asking our board of how much the frequency will be then on afterwards. Either way, this dashboard will still be existing, even if we don't, even with the presentation afterwards. So it'll be an available resource that anyone can go to it anytime.
All right, wonderful. So let's go to public comments. Are there any members from the public who wish to comment on this item, which was item number 8? So you can take yourself off of mute or raise your hand. No one here in the audience. Anyone else? Is that a comment from Maggie?
Okay, Maggie. Yes, I see your question. Could you repeat what you are going to the board to report on? So we'll be reporting on the progress of our general plan program. So RMA staff will be doing a report on the general plan programs. And then this year now with the tool and this reporting cycle, our CEO sustainability staff will also be doing the same for the CAP program.
Okay, anyone else from the general public wishing to speak on this item? Okay, seeing none, then, thank you. So we received then the presentation. Wonderful, thanks. Let's move on to item number 9, which is receiving a presentation on the 3C Run program from 3C Run staff.
Tracy Run staff, is coming from another meeting, she'll be here in a minute or two.
Okay,
I just wanted to acknowledge Omarosa's comment. It was part of Victor's CPERT update. She is one of our project partners, and did everyone see that comment?
so she online.
Yes.
The participants tab.
Okay,
She was just introduced.
welcome, Anna Rosa.
She is a representative from the Central Coast Climate Justice Network on the advisory group.
All right.
The next presentation. Ready to go? Okay, Erica Hielsen will be doing the presentation, and she is staff for 3C Ren. So,
All right,
in the
thanks.
meantime, does anyone, did you have anything to, share about your experience at?
Yeah, just in short, I had the opportunity to attend COP28 in Dubai for several weeks. I sat in at the Indigenous Caucus, where Indigenous people from all over the world convened and negotiated for several weeks, even prior to COP. Definitely had the opportunity to connect with other stakeholders and learn about some solutions that have rooted back since the beginning of our time. So looking forward to bringing some of those reports and suggestions back to the group, but definitely a lot of work that has been done and rooted right before, I'm sure, many of our time. And so looking forward to sharing more on that. But it was a great experience to convene with folks from all over the world, met some folks from Fiji, other parts of the world, to really understand how climate is impacting them at a global scale, in the ways in which we could elevate a lot of the practices to move towards a more sustainable society. And I think that there was a lot of sentiment around the frequency of these events and the response, the rapid responses that are needed, because folks are being impacted at a more rapid rate, and oftentimes it's not visible to other constituencies or bodies. So definitely there's more of that qualitative and kind of quantitative analysis to really continue to capture the severity of these issues. But I really enjoyed listening to the stories of our Indigenous folks in New Zealand, the Maori tribe, and how their governance operates when it comes to advancing social impact in a climate space. So that's my report on the just the dynamics and the layout of the event. I think this year there was a lot of controversy, obviously, and I think that will resonate again for this year's COP as well, being that these spaces are being convened in areas that are predominantly, funded by fossil fuels, and the need to divest to be able to continue to ensure that families and communities are able to thrive. And so really looking forward to continue to convene with folks and bringing some of those strategies to the group here.
Okay, thank you.
What a fun experience, huh? To
Yeah.
go there.
Definitely bittersweet. Lots of opportunities to convene, but also a lot of different perspectives that need to be integrated now and have been pushed for a very long time. So
Kind of the conundrum.
Right.
that we all are in, yeah.
yeah.
Any other updates?
Yeah. So this time, you know, we do have the,
Sorry. What's the latest on the update to the emission inventory, greenhouse gas emission inventory?
That was, part of that was included in the, packet under the CPERC update, but we're gathering data and working on a regional and unincorporated inventory right now.
Yeah, and I can speak to that a little bit further. Currently, to meet the deadline for the PCAP, we're just focusing on those three sectors that you described in there: the transportation, buildings, and solid waste and waste generation. However, when we move on to the second deliverable of a comprehensive climate action plan, we'll be expanding that inventory to include all sectors, but still being encompassing the Ventura County region, unincorporated, and then city specific as well, with 2022 data.
And so that'll be comprehensive inventory as opposed to the preliminary or
Yeah.
limited
Yes.
scope.
Yeah, with the priority climate action plan, we're focusing kind of on those priority areas that have the most greenhouse gas emissions and seeing what we can do so we can include measures or projects that will help take a significant impact in reducing greenhouse gases.
Thank you.
okay, so we're just getting set up here for the presentation from 3C Ren. Hi.
I-
Hi there.
I believe we're all set up. Okay, so, let me introduce Erica Tilson. She's, part of our 3C Ren team. From here.
Okay, hi everyone. I think this group has changed a little bit since I last presented. So some of you are already familiar with 3C Ren. And even for those of you who are already familiar, we have had some changes. We have some new programs coming online. So thanks for inviting us here to share the update. So I'll give you just a general overview of 3C Ren, talk about our current programs, and then talk about the new program. Heather, I should ask, how much time do I have?
You have an hour and 15 minutes to meet it. Or 15 minutes.
Okay,
But
I won't talk to you for that long. Okay, so 3C Ren, our vision and mission. Vision, we want to create a sustainable, equitable, and economically vibrant Central Coast. So we are a partnership of the three counties, Ventura, Santa Barbara, and San Luis Obispo counties. So that's why we have this very regional focus on the Central Coast. Our mission, we support local climate goals through the delivery of energy saving programs that empower a sustainable local economy, reduce social disparities on the Central Coast. So several things to unpack in there. Climate goals. We want our programs to align with the region's climate goals. Energy saving programs. That's really been our focus, like energy efficiency. However, there recently was a regulatory change at the state that allowed us to have a little bit of focus on generation. So we can do a little bit with solar, a little bit with batteries. Our funding is capped for the activities that we can dedicate to those things. So we've really historically been more of an energy efficiency organization. And then reduce social disparities. So our funding, we're allowed to incentivize, provide extra incentives for low-income communities, state designated disadvantaged communities. So the idea is to make sure that everyone has access to energy efficiency resources. And one thing that I feel like gets lost at times with 3C Ren is we're not a separate entity from the county. I'm a county staff person, just like Heather, we work on the same team. We have staff in Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo counties with those counties as well, but we're not a private entity.
Or a nonprofit.
We receive funding from this, from the state, from the California Public Utilities Commission. And I think that I took out that slide, which is important background. So, we're funded through that, charge that's on utility bills. Historically, all that money has gone to, the utilities. So on your, SCE bill, your SoCal gas bill, there are charges for these energy efficiency programs. Before 3C Rent existed, all that funding went to the utilities to run their programs. So the benefit of regional energy networks is that we get to bring all that money right here to our counties. You can still access utility programs, but our programs, like you can have more influence on our programs. They're meant to be really like designed by and for the Tri-County region. Okay, so an overview, the 3 counties working together to improve energy efficiency in the region. Since 2019, that's when we launched our first services. We have 2 key audiences. Building professionals, so who are the people influencing how energy is used in a building and the associated emissions? And then households, that was our other audience through an incentive program. So for building professionals, we do events, training, and support with energy code compliance. For households, we have a free and discounted home upgrade program. I'll get into more details on all these. With our new business plan, which is I think why we were invited here today, is we have some new audiences. So we now can offer programming for the agricultural sector. With the ordinance that was passed several years back that allowed indoor and outdoor cannabis production. That's the focus because it's such an energy intensive. Growing it indoor is very energy intensive. Commercial businesses, so we now have funding to support small and medium-sized businesses with energy efficiency services, and then public sector as well. All right, this is a very busy slide, but some of you might be interested in the information here. The state, the California Public Utilities Commission, they like us to categorize our programs in certain ways by how they define it, market sector. You can see there the new versus existing programs, and then you can also see our budgets from 2024 to 27, and then 2024 all the way to 2031. So we're funded by the state on an 8-year cycle, but they break it up into the first 4 years because how realistically can you project into 8 years? So you can check out those budget numbers in more detail if you're curious. I know Heather provided the slide. Okay, so we have now 7 programs total in 4 different sectors, and the funding is for over $150 million over 8 years. So again, just bringing in investment back into our region, that is a big value add of having a regional energy network. We are the 3rd regional energy network in the state. There's one in the LA area, in the Bay Area. We're the 3rd on the Central Coast. And now there's new ones popping up. There's one in the Inland Empire and San Diego. They're getting one as well. These are 3 current programs: Energy Code Connect, Building Performance Training, and Home Energy Saving. So Energy Code Connect, the whole purpose of this program is we know that the energy code is really complicated to follow. We want to try and support contractors, architects, engineers, public sector staff, anyone who's dealing with buildings, trying to make the energy code a little bit easier to follow. We have an energy code coach service. It's basically like a hotline. Anyone can call it and say, I don't understand what insulation my renovation needs. And they'll talk you through the requirements there. Training, the energy code changes every 3 years. So especially around those code cycle changes, we do a lot of training to make sure that people are up to speed with the changes. Regional forums tend to be more like in person, get everyone together, lots of networking. And then we also have a reach code / permitting support program. So there's a lot going on within the energy code, and all of the 3C Rent services are free. So that hotline and everything else is all free. Do you want me to check on this chat?
If you, like, or you can just do your presentation.
Okay.
and we'll get to it.
Okay, I don't know if like people couldn't hear me or something. Energy assurance services. Okay, I will get into that. That's towards the end of the presentation, but I will cover it. Okay. There's a lot of text here. I'm just gonna be real quick about this. To help you understand like what you really mean by this Energy Code Connect program, this is a little case study. The County of Ventura, our Building and Safety Department, we asked them, you know, what is the most challenging thing you're dealing with when it comes to the energy code? And they said, well, there's all these ADUs that are being built, and to make them more affordable, can we just have some like standard plans that will comply with the energy code? So our energy code coach created some model plans, worked with the building and safety staff, and said, here are some templates that people can follow. That's basically what this whole slide says. Any questions on that? Okay. Building performance training. This is basically a workforce development program. So we help workers thrive as the industry evolves. So we know that the way that buildings use energy is changing, and we want to make sure that none of the professionals in this space are left behind. So for example, heat pump technology, you know, we've been using heat pumps in our refrigerators forever. For heating and air conditioning, it's becoming more popular, but now even water heaters, heat pumps are just much more ubiquitous. But a lot of professionals, plumbers, for example, they might not be familiar with this technology. So we do training so that they understand, how does this work? What's going to be different for my customer? How do I install it? So these are some examples of the topics. The envelope of your building, air sealing, heat pumps. We offer continuing education units. So for architects and code professionals, we offer those learning units. And we also, so it says current and prospective professionals. We do a lot of education more recently in schools. So a lot of young people are interested in, you know, what can I do about climate change, and working in the trades. There, you can have a pretty big influence on the emissions of the building. So we basically explain to them, like, this is how you would build a green building. And we share with them some kind of career opportunities if that's what they're thinking about as they graduate. So again, another little case study. So the Centers for Employment Training, there are a few of these. There's one in Oxnard. We've also worked with one in Santa Maria. The students, there's a program, it's called Green Building Construction Skills Program. We have partnered with this organization to bring in our instructors to add an energy efficiency element to their program. So I don't know if Javier Salcedo has presented to this group in the past. He does a lot of work with the county. He is working with the students to do a blower door test. And that's just a way to measure the efficiency of your space when it comes to the envelope. So we've done 11 different presentations between 2022 and 23 with the Centers for Employment Training, and we're continuing that partnership.
Just a quick question. Is the Center for Employment, are they promoting partnerships or way to connect with other groups for individuals to tap into the skills training that's provided? Or helping community-based organizations maybe that are outside of these
Those
programs? Yeah.
We're open to all sorts of partnerships. So we sought them out because we saw that they had a green skills program. But if you're aware of other organizations that might be interested in that sort of training, we would definitely welcome the opportunity to bring in our instructors. We have maybe less than 10 or so different instructors. They all have different specialties, but depending on what the group is interested in, we can design something, more custom to what they need.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, home energy savings. This is basically a rebate program. So we want to help homes lower their energy bills and improve the home while reducing their greenhouse gas emissions. The focus of the program is households that are historically underserved. So again, like low-income communities or communities that don't speak English as a primary language. That's really where we target the services, although anyone in the Tri-Counties is able to participate in our programs. We have a multifamily program and a single family program. So for the multifamily buildings, their systems are more complex, so there's technical assistance that's provided. So they go in and scan the building and tell them, you know, your HVAC system might need an upgrade, and help them scope it out, because sometimes that is a barrier for these buildings. And then for single family homes, we don't offer that kind of technical assistance because there's too many homes. We can't afford to provide it for all of them, but we do offer incentives for those homes. A little bit about the single family program. The model is you work with an enrolled contractor. So we enroll contractors all the time. We're always looking for more. So if you know of any contractors who want to offer rebates to their customers, please send them our way. But let's say that I'm a homeowner and I want to get a new water heater. You will go to our website. We have an interest form, or you can see the list of all the enrolled contractors. You get a quote, and then the incentive goes to the contractor. But they show you how much incentive they're getting, and they work it out with you how much they're going to offer a discount on your project. For the multifamily program, you can work with any contractor you like. You don't have to be enrolled in our program. And the incentive goes to the owner of the property. I think those are all the highlights to share on that program. I'm going to skip past these case studies. They're in the deck if you're interested. I guess just to highlight, this is for a 10-unit apartment building in Santa Barbara County. They received over $40,000 in incentive funding, and this was for a central heat pump water heater, different pump controls, insulation, mini splits, induction cooktops, a panel upgrade. So basically anything that involves the energy systems in a building. If it saves energy, then it's typically eligible for our program. So there is a lot of funding available.
This was an existing building.
Yes, and actually that's a good point too. All these programs are just for existing buildings. We are not authorized by the state to do new construction. For the single family program, this is a family that that replaced a gas water heater with a heat pump water heater. The value was $7,300 for the full replacement, and this was totally covered. The homeowner didn't have to pay a cent on this one. I think that I believe this one was, they qualified for the enhanced incentives for hard to reach customers. So this is not to say that every water heater replacement will be totally free, but you know, for certain customers they can be. And even without the enhanced incentives, the incentives are still pretty big. It's not, a lot of rebate programs will say, you know, kind of flat rate, like $2,000 for every water heater. This program is different. It's based on the actual measured energy savings. So the program model is a little bit complicated, but that's why it doesn't just say, you know, water heaters get this much, air conditioners get this much. It's based on what are you using currently, and then how much energy do you actually save once the project is installed.
So the assumption is that if you have a great savings, then the help is going to be at that level.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, so if you have like a very inefficient system and you're upgrading to something more efficient, like very efficient, your incentive will be bigger than if you're already pretty efficient.
And some of that's done by the utility companies as well, right?
The utilities have their own rebate programs. You can't participate in both. We have systems in place that you can either work with us or work with their programs. But one of the reasons we started the Regional Energy Network is a lot of the times the utility representatives don't make it to our region. We're just like a little too remote for them. So yes, the utilities do offer incentive programs as well, but our program is not through the utilities.
Right.
Okay, and then the new programs, which I think is what may be of more interest. Victor, do you want to speak to this program?
Sure, yeah, so one of the new programs is gonna be for the agricultural sector. It's gonna be providing technical assistance to landowners, producers, farmers. So why we're expanding into this field is this will help keep agriculture strong in the face of climate impacts. It also will help to curb energy use in the cannabis sector. Will allow growers to manage their costs and environmental impacts by managing their energy use. This will allow growers to navigate the web of energy efficiency programs and funding available for agriculture customers. For who will be targeting with this program is, as Eric had mentioned, the cannabis growers as well as socially disadvantaged growers. And what we'll be offering again will be a comprehensive technical assistance and assessments. So one of the things with the funding for that agricultural sector is unfortunately we aren't able to provide incentives. We didn't get okay to do that, but with this technical assistance, we'll be seeking out opportunities for growers to apply for to get incentives for some of the projects they'll be able to do.
And Victor is the program manager, so he'll be your go-to contact for this program as we develop it. We don't have a date yet for this program to come online right now. We're doing stakeholder engagement. So we're just making sure that we design the program to meet everyone's needs. So if you have any contacts in this sector that you think we should talk to as we're informing our program design, please connect them with Victor. But luckily he has background in this, so we're talking, I think, to a lot of the right folks.
So the technical assistance portion is assessing their current infrastructure and offering alternative
Yeah.
energy saving technology.
We're still designing it, kind of, we're building this from scratch, but I think the idea is kind of leaning more towards kind of creating almost like an energy management plan or energy efficiency plan, offering projects that they can do to make their operations more energy efficient. And then with that, point them towards the correct funding to help them, overcome any barriers to help with implementation.
Okay, okay.
Also in cannabis, I would imagine that most of the focus would be like the Carpinteria area. Cannabis, I believe, one of the reports I had seen was that they grow a quarter of what is used in California. It's a huge production,
Yeah,
lots of greenhouses, et cetera. So
They displaced the flower growers.
up there in that area, right?
There's a big plant here in the Camarillo, where it used to be the
Yeah.
Holly Nursery tomato plant.
Yes, yeah, hydroponic. Yeah, so I would imagine that those would be real focus groups for this ag tech assistance.
So we will work with all three counties, but our counterparts in Santa Barbara, they also work on the legislation, there's energy requirements for these producers. So yes, I imagine all the Carpinteria folks will be a big focus.
But this also includes agricultural food processing.
We are exploring that, kind of, just because while the focus may be on cannabis, we also want to see if we can target like outdoor agriculture. And while there may not be a whole lot of energy efficiency projects that can be done there, we may be able to target projects that are related to irrigation management, as well if there's any like processing plants on agricultural land or any warehouses for storing equipment for the farms. There may be a possibility to provide some help with those parts that are related to agriculture. So that's the aim or the goal, is to hopefully get into those areas as well.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll have to look into the state is pretty specific about who we can serve. And I think there might be agricultural specific energy rates. that probably will determine the eligibility, what energy rate they're on, but, I made a note to follow up on that. But these are all the things we'll be working on now, like what are the eligibility requirements for the program? And what is eligible for our technical assistance? Is it a full-on energy audit of all your systems? Are there only certain systems that are eligible? These are the details we're working through. But again, we need to have more stakeholder conversations to inform the program, so please do reach out if you.
Well,
believe in
I
this.
serve agriculture and there is a movement to decarbonize ag, but I'm not sure how these programs assist in looking at least at the energy function of from farm to table. You know, there's a whole process there of energy consumption.
Mhm,
There's a lot of food processors in Oxnard.
mhm.
Gil's Onion's been pretty good about minimizing their carbon footprint with their digester project, but cannabis is a tiny piece of the ag business.
Yeah.
It's a monster.
Sounds like we should follow up with you to get maybe some insight as we design our program. Our commercial program. This is for small and medium-sized businesses. Again, as part of our program design, this is what we're working through, is who exactly will qualify. There are some definitions that the CPUC has around businesses with 10, or I think they changed it to 25 or fewer employees, and then also looking at their energy usage. Historically, this, I think, has been another difficult sector to serve, especially small businesses. They're busy running their business. They might not care about energy efficiency. They might also be renters and not own the building. So there's lots of barriers in this space. But that's why we applied for funding, so that we can see if we can offer something for these customers.
And sorry to keep interrupting, but that's why I'm a little bit confused, because we had, you know, Edison come through and replace all of our lighting, and we don't own the building, to reduce our energy consumption. So are you emulating some of what they're doing? And you obviously can't do both, right?
Right. So the feedback that we've heard is that the utility programs would come through every so often. They would try and kind of like batch the jobs because they don't have reps that are in our area. And I think that some of these programs are able to do things like, or were able to do things like lighting that they're no longer able to do. So our program will be, it's like the single family home program where the incentives will be based on actual energy savings. So I think whereas a lot of the utility programs can no longer do lighting, we could still do lighting as long as it's going to save energy. So it's just a different program design, but yes, you can only, it's the same pot of funding from the state, so they don't want you participating in their program and our program. So it's something that you can look into to see what's a better fit for you.
Sure.
Yeah. We will be partnering with the Green Business Network. They already are working with a lot of businesses in the area to do green business certification. So they are a partner. They will be a partner of ours in this program. And again, we just got approved for funding as of January 1st. So this is all still in design. But you know, it's so you rent your space.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would love to get your input if you'd be open to talking, or any other small businesses. We want to make sure that the program actually meets people's needs.
And this is countywide rather than unincorporated areas.
It is all 3 counties, incorporated and cities. Yeah.
And so is it primarily for those that own their own place, or could it be because you find that there would be energy efficiency with changes, that it could be for those that have a landlord?
It could be for either.
Okay.
I think the challenge often is the renter may or may not want to make investments in the space if it's not their own space. I think every business is a little bit different.
Okay.
And all those relationships are a little bit different. So
Well, we didn't own the building and it saved us a lot of money switching to LED. And we just asked the landlord, can we do it? And, it worked, so,
Did they do that for free?
can't remember if we had to pay anything, but we
Yeah.
did do it.
And often I think that's, the landlord may or may not be willing to make those investments, so we're trying to make it more appealing to them by offering incentives. Okay, there was the question about energy assurance services. So energy assurance services is a program that already exists in Santa Barbara County. And it is basically a technical assistance program as well to try and support resiliency of properties that will offer community benefit. So I think there's funding. You can try and find grants and other things for resiliency projects, but just scoping out the projects can be also a significant burden. So that's what this program would help with. The program has been going in Santa Barbara County for maybe a year or two. And this funding now allows us to bring it to Ventura and San Luis Obispo counties. So spaces like a library or a school or something that would offer community benefit during a disaster, those are the types of facilities that we would target. And again, it's technical assistance. So we'd be looking at the building and saying, what's your energy load? What are your systems? And if you wanted to make this building more resilient, what would our recommendations be? And because this program already existed, the partner we'll be working with is ERA. They're already contracted to support this program. Yeah, any questions on this one?
And so there was like a pilot project where we worked with Ventura Library and Fort City of Fort Miami. And they went through the energy assurance program, how to report, and we're using that information to find additional funding. And we have been working with other partners, the sustainability division in the county. I've been working with Clean Power Alliance, as well as some community-based organizations on applications to grants for resiliency centers. And so this energy assurance program is helpful to get us information. Then we can hopefully stack grant funding and get some more energy programs.
That's true, because I think the library was able to capitalize on lighting as well as like windows that needed to be replaced in order to contain more, energy and not waste, et cetera. So yeah, great.
What company are you? Yeah, so ARUP, ARUP, the big engineering consulting firm. We've been working with ARUP on this program. All right, so these are the contact pages for the existing programs. So we have a calendar of all of our trainings, 3c-ren.org/events. For the Energy Code Coach, that information is also on our website, but there's a phone number, and then for our home energy savings program. For all those three new programs, we don't have anything on the website yet because they're so new, they're not online yet. But that will be coming probably in the second quarter of the year.
I have a question. So thank you for the presentation. Very informative. It's great that we've added to the program. Do we report out at all? Do you contain like all the energy savings and then allow that to be reported out, that this is what 3C-REN has done, whether it's annually or every 4 years, et cetera?
Yeah, the best place to find that would be on our website. We have all our annual reports posted. So each year around April, May time period is when we do annual reporting to the state. And we're working to make that information more user-friendly to the general public, because the state, wants it in a certain way. And it's these long reports. And so we were just talking through for this year's report, we're gonna try and have like maybe a, 10-page with lots of graphics, just summarizing what we've done, because it is a lot of information to sort through, but information that you are interested in is like at the end of each report, there's a metrics section. That's where I would check. And we do also, for the programs that save energy, report to all the cities what your energy savings were. The energy savings, so our single family program, it was originally what the state calls a direct install program. It was trying to do more of these like free measures, just go in and do the simple things like swapping out light bulbs that's free. The state changed which items were eligible for that program to the point where there was pretty much nothing left that was eligible. So our program design just didn't work anymore. So we had to redesign the program. The new program launched at the end of 2022. So we have about a year's worth of data. But anyway, as you're looking at it, it's still a new program. So I wish our numbers were higher, but we're working on it. And the way that we will grow this program is to get more contractors enrolled and to get more households aware of the program. So if this group is interested in supporting what we're doing, directing contractors to enroll in the program is definitely very beneficial, as well as just helping to promote the program. So like through city newsletters and things like that. Those are the ways that we'll get more households participating in the program.
As most of the members here represent then a board of supervisor who appointed us, and then we have two that were at large additions, that would be a possibility for us to work with our representative and get the information out, et cetera. Yeah.
We did for the multifamily rebate program, we partnered with the boards of supervisors in each of the 3 counties to send out a letter to all multifamily property owners. And that was our best marketing effort to date. The program was pretty new, and once that mailer went out, we got a lot of interest. And the timeline to build out those programs is very slow, to do the scoping and to get the approvals. But our first projects have now been completed.
I'm wondering even, from my standpoint, I work with a nonprofit organization who helps folks get into new home, become homeowners, but they're not necessarily all new homes there. So that could be a possibility that I could connect you up with.
That would be great. I mean, our biggest challenge with these programs is just that people don't know about them.
Yeah, exactly.
So marketing is, I think, our biggest need.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks. So any comments or questions? Yes.
Yeah,
Vice
the
Chair
question,
White.
Erica, great presentation. The Federal Inflation Reduction Act has a lot of money, a lot of incentives for energy efficiency and greenhouse gas reduction measures. Do you notify your clients about this money available? That part of what you do?
So what's great about those new programs is because it is federal funding, it can be combined with our funding, and same with the tax credits. So like the utility programs we were talking about, it's the same pot of money, so you can't double dip in it. But the Inflation Reduction Act funds, the tax credits, you can stack it with our incentives. So for our program, we do have information on our website. Should pull that up. I can send it around afterwards. We have a tool that asks you a few questions and then pulls up all the different programs that you're eligible for. So that one, I believe, includes the tax credits, since those are currently available. The rebate programs have not come online yet. The state, I think it's like the funding's going through the state, and then the state will figure out how they're gonna make it available to all of us. That's all still being designed. So the rebates aren't available quite yet, but once they are, that will be folded into our tool. But it also depends on like how educated the contractors are. So let's say that you don't learn about our program through our website, you just learn about it through a contractor that you reach out to. hopefully they are educating their customers about this because it's in the best interest, right? If they can get as much incentives and tax credits as possible. But, you know, some of them don't know about this. So without overwhelming them, we do try and push out a lot of information to our contractors. But I guess to answer your question, it kind of depends on how they learn about the program and who they're talking to.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the council? All right, anyone else on for public comment here? I think there's another maybe message on chat.
Victor, I don't know if you can read this one. Are you already talking to Ag Commission staff?
Have not yet. As part of the CPRG grant program, though, we are working with Ramey and Associates on some of this disadvantaged and low income information that will go into that grant, but and hopefully with those talks that'll help expand that. But yes, that's on a one of our immediate actions that will be is to connect with the Ag Commissioner to help discuss kind of what we're going to be defining as disadvantaged growers.
Good eyesight.
We also, a couple of meetings back, we had the group that actually does reach out to, I believe, some agricultural communities to try to figure out, were you here, Victor? In that meeting?
So
I want to say it was over the summer that we had the folks come in and talk about, they were almost like ombudsmans, right? That went out to the growers.
the RCD, right?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, yes, I was here for that one. We actually have some of the stakeholders we have reached out to include the RCDs.
Okay.
We actually spoke with the Upper Salinas Las Tablas RCD, which is based out in San Luis Obispo. So we're wanting to make sure there are 4 RCDs within the 3C REN region that we're having conversations with. I did also have a conversation with Ventura County Farm Bureau agency, and so we're making sure we're connecting with the right folks who will be able to help inform what we want this program to look like, make sure it's the most beneficial program out there, and not just kind of put something out there that isn't really going to be of any help. So we're really trying to make sure we're reaching out to as many stakeholders as possible to help inform the program design, and then going out to different conferences or just ag related conferences that can also help to inform the program.
Okay, very good. So anyone from the public that wishes to comment here or have any questions? None in the room, and if anyone else online has a comment or question, you could raise your hand or take yourself off of mute. All right, so seeing none then, thank you so much. Thanks for a wonderful presentation. And let's see, we are on to item number 10, council member comments and future agenda items. So do we have any comments from council? No comments, no comments. Okay. Any future agenda items that you want to make sure that we get onto a future meeting?
Could we get an update on the county electrification policy that the board voted on September, was it? I believe.
Yes, we, next month, I believe I'll be able to provide an update, and we are meeting later this week to discuss it. With county and
With the staff. Yeah. Okay.
We're working on it.
Okay. Very good.
Another question I have on the March information going to the board on the CAP program, is that like a study session?
I don't know if that's been determined yet, so I will follow up with that information.
When I went to the board to present the case for their adopting a policy of electrifying county facilities, it was delayed, the item was delayed because they had a study session for animal control that went on for a couple hours. And I know a lot of interest in animals, of course, and pets. I'm just wondering, relative to the amount of time dedicated to that study session, whether climate change will be a big deal, or is it just gonna be a document in the agenda packet, or seems like it would be good to for county staff to present to the board how they're planning to achieve the goals of the climate action plan by 2030. Because we're still projected to not have enough emission reductions with existing programs, and how county staff is working to boost that up, or decrease emissions further to achieve the goals. And I would see that as a study session. How are we going to get there, and what's happening in the county staff to get there?
Okay,
A suggestion,
all right.
study session.
Okay, thanks. All right, so are there any comments from the public on this council member comments agenda item 10? So none here in the meeting room, and anybody online? You take yourself off with mute. And raise your hand. Okay, so seeing none, then we will be meeting then on Tuesday, February 20th here at noon. A hybrid option available for the public. And at this point, 1:29, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good meeting.
Yeah,
I
very
second that.